Hi, how are you? Justin Brennan with the Brennan Pohle Group. So we're very excited to introduce this multifamily offering to you encompassing two properties, Northwest San Antonio, Texas. It's the COVE De CHANTLE. It's a combination of two properties, 110 units. We're going to operate them as kind of 110 unit complex because they are close together. And full-blown exterior and interior renovations. I'm going to go through real quick and showcase some of the details about the offering, how it works, and if you have any other questions, please reach out to us. But here we go. Okay, so jumping in here with the De CHANTLE and the COVE, combination of 110 units between them. Going to go through the summary of the pitch deck. I won't take all of it, that way you can download it and go through it, but just summarize and give you some specific details behind the scenes that you may not see or be evident to on the pitch deck itself. So this kind of goes through the offering itself, the purchase price, total equity approximations, CapEx budgets, all of the metrics in terms of preferred returns, cash on cash, etc. for you as a limited partner LP investor. Minimum investment of $50,000 kind of shows you the capital stack over here, and then gives you an idea from your perspective as an investor, kind of what the estimated and projected returns are. This gives you a sample of, hey, if I invest $100,000, what does that look like for me, right? And breaks it down from cash flow projections on and so forth, the refinance event that would take place here, giving back a portion of your initial investment, as well as the sales proceeds that would come out here upon sale. And then the cash flows on a year-by-year basis, and then estimated cash-on-cash returns. The property. So this is what's most important and why this is so important if you're going to be investing, because things that we look for when we're going into take on an investment is number one, location. Location, location, location. Number two is the people involved, right? That includes the leasing staff, the management staff, the tenants, the demographics, all of that as well. And then the processes that are currently in place, whether that's through how they automate work orders, how do they automate payment of rents, how do they automate all these things involved to help great processes in managing a complex to get the best result out of them, to generate the best revenue, and of course, reduce and operate the complex as best as possible with reduced operating expenses to ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about the NOI, right? We want to get that net operating income in its best position so that way we can return the greatest cash flow to our investors, ourselves, and everybody involved. So talking about, why the COVE De CHANTLE. So if you're not familiar with San Antonio, Texas, Northwest San Antonio or Northeast San Antonio is ultimately where you want to be. That's where a lot of the medical facilities are at, a lot of the booming economy sectors at. That's the corridor that then connects to Austin, Texas. So anywhere down through those northwest, northeast corridors of San Antonio is where you want to be, and that's right smack in the middle of where these properties are at. Now these are C-rated, C-MICE properties that have been owned by the largest Class C owner in all of San Antonio. The current owner has over 12,000 units that they own in San Antonio, Texas, and they are beginning to dispose of them. And of course, we're getting the opportunity to pick up two of those and go through the renovations and really taking them from their dilapidated status, if you want to call it that, and moving them into a solid C+ category, or even maybe a B-, but definitely a solid C+, raise, restabilize, and keep the thing moving and put them in a much better position than they're at today. So by doing that, we're anticipating being able to bump the rents right around 190 to 215 bucks a month, depending on the unit type. And the kicker here is the washer dryers. If you go around to all the comps that are in place, some of them have washer and dryers, some of them don't. Some of them just connections, some of them don't. Some of them are charging more for the washer dryers, like if you actually put them in the units, some of them not. So we're basically going to be remodeling all the units, putting a little bit better finishes than some of the other competitive even B and B+ properties, adding in the washer dryers, okay, as an inclusion. Not an extra expense, just an inclusion, but that allows us to bump the rent and get it to where we want to be. More importantly, within that San Antonio market is the strong rent growth, strong job growth, and strong population growth. Right? San Antonio, Texas, you may not be aware of, is the 7th largest city in the United States of America. Most people, when I tell them that, they don't realize that, and then they start Googling it and getting on Wikipedia, and they find out, and they're a bit surprised. So that's a key factor, because population growth, job growth, right, rent growth, all of that is key components to making sure that 3, 4, 5 years from now, this is a viable project and opportunity. Here's some aerial views of the properties. This is the COVE. So to give you an idea of some things we're looking at doing at the COVE is these townhome units right here in front all have the ability for putting little patio fenced areas and yards in them, along with these ones here and then these here. So it gives us about 20 to 29 townhomes to be able to do that. We're going to add in carports, covered carports here. That's going to give us an extra boost in income along the backside here as well. Additionally, this whole area in here, this was an old pool that we're going to be, it's already filled in. We're going to complete it and then add a nice BBQ and gazebo and all that stuff and really spice up this corridor area in the center area. This is an old leasing office that was there that's now storage. We're going to reopen that up, and that's where we're going to head the leasing center and the maintenance center out of this space here. And then clean up this whole front yard space. We're going to fence this whole section here all the way around to the corner and all the way down the front to add some extra security. This is a church over here to the left. Okay, very, very important. When you actually run and drive this neighborhood, you'll realize, hey, this is a good neighborhood. It's a dilapidated property that needs some help and love. Over here, we're going to probably be putting the dog park. We're going to move this kids thing from here and bring it over into this sector over in here. We can probably put it here and not have to do these little gazebo backyards here. We can put the kid area over here. And then because this is all asphalt in here, it'd be very efficient and inexpensive to put in a little sport court if we wanted to do that right in this section over here, over near where the dog area is at. And this would be the main entrance with extra signage coming in here. You'd have signage down here. It'll look really, really good when we're all done. You can see the exterior renovation looks that we're trying to do. With a de Chantal, 36 units. Important things to note here. Senior housing community directly to our left. Keeps the area safe. You got a church right behind us. This has two little courtyard area in it. We're going to put a barbecue and some stuff over here, and then this is going to be your main kind of common area sector here. The covered carports are already in place on this complex. Once again, we're going to fence the whole front yard here, fence it down here, and coming around the side and just really protect it. Make sure that the corridors entering the little the courtyards are going to be fenced in, so that way you'd have controlled access in there as well. And then renovate the entire exterior with paint, new palette, some wood elements, all of that, and then all the interior units as well. This gives you current examples of the interior photos. You can go through that in the pitch deck. Gives you an example of what we're going to be doing for the interior renovation plans and what we're looking for there. Exterior photos on each of the properties. Exterior renovation plan to give you an example of some signage, the dog park, the kid sport court, that type of stuff, the interior gazebo and barbecue areas and stuff like that. And then kind of what a paint palette may look like, taking it from the Cove, which is current here, just directly over to this guy. Right? You see how we're bringing in some whites, little pops of paint here, some wood elements here. We may even do some wood along these railings and stuff, but to give you concept. Here's the unit mix. You can go through that. Going through the property location, you can see how close they are. They're literally about 4 miles apart. Some floor plan elements, you can go through that in the pitch deck. And then going through the market of San Antonio, which I think is critically important because you want to make sure there's growth there for population, there's growth there for rents, there's growth there for jobs, right? It's jobs, population, rents. So median household incomes are good, occupancy rates, total population with the MSA that includes San Antonio proper as well as the exterior areas, about 2.8 million. Unemployment rate has dropped considerably even post-COVID, right? Everybody was high during COVID, and post-COVID it's dropping and it's continuing to drop. So you can go through all these stats and metrics on the market itself. You know, we're betting big on Texas. Obviously, we're located in Austin as well as in San Diego, and then we have San Antonio, which is the 7th largest city in the United States. Tech and defense. This is key. Most people don't know this as well. San Antonio doesn't have 1, 2, 3. It has 4 major military bases that are key command posts for the United States military. More importantly, the NSA for Texas. So you have the NSA, obviously, that's located on the East Coast, but you have the second headquarters for the NSA located in San Antonio, about 4 miles from our properties. So key component to what's going on with BRAC realignment, which is base relocations and closures. The tech and defense industry, it's huge, both in Austin and then in the San Antonio markets. Major job drivers, you can see these major employers in the area. This is kind of what we're looking, to do and push the rents. So taking it on the 1-bedrooms, here's all the comps. I've driven personally all of these, looked at every single one of these. I know them very, very well. This is currently where we're at on a price per foot. On the 1-bedrooms, we're going to push it to $1.28 at $848, and we're going to stay ideally just below some of these guys, but we're also going to have washers and dryers in the units, which many of these do not, just so you're aware of that. Many of these do not. and they charge extra. So that, because of that washer dryer, that's where you're getting an extra 50 to 75, maybe $100 a unit by including that washer dryer, and then granite countertops versus the refaced Formica. Same thing in the 2 bedrooms. You can see what we're doing there, and we're going to stay just below these other B-rated comps and kind of come in here with ours. Projected financials, you can go through those. Cash flow projections for the LP partners. And then lastly, how to invest. So pretty simple. You can come in here, you can click on this button, you can click on this button. It's all here for you. You can get in touch with us via email. We could set up a personalized phone call as well, whichever is going to be easiest for you. But log into the portal to start and just make sure your account's in there. And then you can set up a reservation. It's not a full-blown commitment, just a reservation of what you would invest. And then that way we can take the next steps and kind of walk you through it and answer all the questions you have to get you comfortable. You have to go through having an accredited investor. This is a 506C offering for accredited investors only. So 401ks, LLCs, LPs, just fine. IRAs, trusts, not a problem. Individually, you can invest as well. We are also looking into 1031 exchange monies and running a TIC, a tenants in common. So at the time of this recording, it's not in place yet, but we are working on it. So we may be able to have it by the time you see this. But these are the many ways you can kind of verify your accreditation. The last one down here I think is kind of cool if you pay attention to it, is if a person, maybe you're not meeting all of these per se, but if a person can demonstrate sufficient education or job experience showing their professional knowledge of unregistered securities like this, they too can qualify to be considered an accredited investor. So keep in mind, if you may not meet all of these or any one of these, you may meet this one. So keep that in mind for accreditation. The team, the Brennan Pohle Group, who are we? We started in 2010. In the midst of the financial crisis, Christopher Pohle and myself, we bought a $100,000 condo in Murrieta, California, and turned that into a $356,000 gain. Then bought a house. Then we bought 2 to 4 unit properties throughout San Diego with our own money, and then graduated into 8 to 10 unit properties. Successfully managed through that, and then got into 30 to 50 unit deals in Kansas City and Missouri and other markets, and have graduated through those. And the next viable stage is where we're at, and that is the larger complexes where economies of scale really kick in, right? Really kick in, and that is north of 90 units, staying under 200 units, but north of 90, and it's right in our wheelhouse. So myself, Christopher Pohle, we got Kevin Bass on the analyst side. Rudy Medina with Next Space Development is a key member here because of his bandwidth, his knowledge, his expertise in the financial markets, capital stacks, and setting all of this up. He's a key component, not to mention his experience both in ground-up development, but also in the renovations of multifamily in the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So Rudy's a key component. And then, of course, we got Jason Graves, his strategic partner, who you may know, that can help with raising capital and getting things involved on that end. Legal and accounting, you can go through this on your own end. These are all our securities attorneys, tax people, bookkeepers, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have on-site property management that in these particular deals is going to be run by CalCap, great company, and then construction management team that's going to be taking on the renovations. So that way, in line with the property management company, we can manage this kind of assembly line process that really is a key component in making sure units are getting renovated on time, they're getting put back to market on time, and then, of course, meeting the expectations of rents to keep us moving along so we're fully renovated within a 24 to 28 month period. Disclosures there. And just as an investor, so you're fully aware of this, you're going to have access to your investment 24/7. So in your own investment portal, you can log in, you can see what's going on, all the updates are there, all your documents, legal, financial, K1 statements at the end of each year, all the tax documents, everything's going in this portal for you, and you can watch it in real time anytime you want. You can log in just like you do to a bank account. So just be aware of that. So I hope that helps, and I hope it answers any other questions. But yeah, anything else, click onto the portal, get in touch with us, shoot us an email, set up a phone call, whatever it's going to take that's easiest for you to get comfortable and answer any questions. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that and got most of your questions answered. But if not, go and set up a personalized phone call. Be happy to get on the phone with you or our other GPs and go over details about the offering specifically as it pertains to you. And we have a live webinar that's kind of pre-saved and pre-recorded. You can watch that again as well. Download our pitch deck. Click the links herein to either set up that phone call, get into the portal, download all the documents, go through it all. You can shoot us an email as well, whatever's going to be easiest for you to get in contact with us to get your questions answered if you do have interest in this offering. And then that way you'll know when the funds are due, how it all works, et cetera, et cetera. So hope that makes sense. We really look forward to getting you involved. So take care. Talk to you soon.